Good evening. It's 5:29. Microphones are live.
My hands are going to be frosted
And
before
also,
this is over.
the Lowell zoning case. The,
Yeah, so I've
okay.
She can't get to her seat. Jeff, there's someone behind you.
Did you talk today?
no, it was
She can't sit down.
Okay. Just texted me today.
I'll talk with you. I was with
Okay.
this time.
The October 7th, 2025 meeting of the City Council is called to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Redpath, will you please call the roll?
Yes, ma'am. Alderman Cox. Here. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Netriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. I appreciate it. The civility pledge, in the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. This evening, there are no proclamations or presentations, so the Chair will entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the September 16th, 2025 regular City Council meeting and approve the minutes.
So moved, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The Chair will now entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The Chair will entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into the recording of this council meeting.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. The Chair will now entertain a motion to place the consent agenda on final passage.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we should be able to vote. Will the voting be, oh, there we go. Voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Mayor, I vote yes, it's not registering.
Thank you, Alderwoman.
I
there it
vote
is.
twice.
Well, that's because Alderwoman Purchase isn't voting, so that's why we let you do that. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I'm just being funny. So, I don't know
take
why
it.
you're on there twice. So the motion passes with 9 voting yes,
You got
1
two
not
words.
present. And I don't know why you're on there twice. I was just kidding you, I hope you know that.
No, yeah.
It's not us.
She wasn't in her seat, so.
All right. Is that a phone?
Agenda, keep that up, she says. She likes having 2 votes. Agenda item number 2025-247 and 2025-281 remain tabled or in committee, and I don't see any reason for movement unless anyone from the council sees movement for those. Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is item number 2025-387, an ordinance accepting and authorizing contract PD 2608-27 with Morrow Brothers Ford Incorporated for the purchase and delivery of 2 Ford Mavericks for an amount not to exceed $60,570 for the Springfield Police Department. The Chair will entertain a motion to place agenda item number 2025-387 on final passage.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, then the motion or voting will now be open. Alderwoman Notriano, I know that you're only voting one time, so you're all good. And so the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. Is there any unfinished business to come before the council at this time from the council members?
Quick meeting.
Seeing none, is there any new business from the council members to come before the council? All right, then we're going to move on to advance requests to address the council. Clerk Redpath, you're in charge.
James Johnson.
No, James.
James Johnson. No James. Bob Emmel.
Good evening. My name is Bob Emmel. I live in Ward 3. I'm also a member of ICON, the independent coalition of our neighborhoods. I want to give you a vocabulary lesson tonight. The meaning of communication. The dictionary defines it as the process of imparting and exchanging information, thoughts, feelings, or ideas between a sender and a receiver to achieve mutual understanding. Now, for the most part, I will say that this horseshoe has done a good job of communication, with one exception, the mayor's office. The mayor has listed these community connections, which I think is a wonderful idea, but I can tell you, looking at the faces, only 2 wards have had these community connections, and I can guarantee you the remaining city council members do not know when their ward meeting is going to take place. Mayor, I beg you, please post a list in public of all of your community connection meetings. I honestly think that having ward meetings would be a benefit to the entire city, whether they're monthly, bi-monthly. Now, one city council member came up to me and said, "Oh, but we have neighborhood association meetings that I attend." Well, that's all fine and good, but guess what? Where I live is not part of a neighborhood association. So therefore, I really think that ward meetings, whether they're monthly, whether they're bi-monthly, is a necessity for communication. In addition, with communication, I'd like to know, are you taking notes? Are you making those outcomes public as to what's coming about at these ward meetings? Also, while we're on the topic of communications, I'd like to address the police chief. Now, I understand Police Chief Beal is new in this position, but we used to have coffee with a cop. Great idea, a great way to communicate with the police department. No list of them. I have asked multiple times, when is coffee with a cop? I don't know. Well, Police Chief Beal, I beg of you, please come up with a list, at least for the upcoming years, so that we can have those and people can work around their schedules. So that's all I'm going to leave you. Mayor and city council members, you know how to get a hold of me. I look forward to hearing from you with that list of the community connections meetings and the ward meetings. I look forward to hearing from Police Chief Beal and his department as to when coffee with a cop is going to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Clerk?
Sarah.
Oh, sorry. Alderman Williams. My apologies, Alderman.
I just real quick wanted to first verify, did you get my emails?
I certainly did, and you
Okay.
said you had no idea when Ward 3's meeting was going to be.
Oh, yes, but I'm
Yes.
speaking to the county part of things, meaning the neighborhood associations. I wanted you to have that information, and I think I shared the 2 closest neighborhood association.
Defunct.
Both of them are defunct.
Correct.
So, I thought you was coming last week, but just so that you know, I think you need to contact the Sangamon County Regional Planning, and within their apparatus is the section that handles neighborhood associations, the official listing, because we do things silly with the county like this, and it confuses the citizens. But that's how you'll find out where the neighborhood associations are, which ones was closest to you. I just happen to have knew that, and I do know if you want to start one, because I asked you that as well, we can go. I can show you how to go through the county to get one started with the petition, get the groups together, that type of thing. So I don't want you to think I'm not communicating
No,
with you
you're not.
because once somebody got a hold of me who's an elder to me and jumped me for not communicating with Mr. Bob Emo. And I'm like, hey, I don't know what I have been, emailing him back, but it was said that I wasn't, so I wanted to just clear the record so that I'm not on the list with the mayor and the chief.
I will tell you this,
We
as I
welcome
mentioned, I am a member of ICON, the Independent
Yes.
Coalition of Neighborhoods. We had a meeting last night. That list that you said that Sangamon County
Yeah.
is not up to date. It has not been updated.
That's
in
why
fi-
counties shouldn't be doing
That
this
is
type of
correct,
thing.
yes. So we cannot rely on that.
Well, these
yeah.
kind of things happen and started way before me, but I
I
just wanted
understand.
you to know where I'm coming from.
I
Thank you.
understand, and I appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Clerk?
Sarah Al. Sarah Al. Aaron Cahill.
We gotta do fast so they ain't in here. So it's gonna be that.
Hey, Council. Coming before you guys again today regarding immigration's customs enforcement. As some of y'all may know, they're in Chicago. Heavy in Chicago right now. They conducted a no-knock raid just the other day on an apartment and took literally every soul out of the apartment at midnight. Flex cuffed a bunch of kids, a bunch of adults, shoved them into Penske vans. Yeah, moving vans. Shoved them into moving vans. Hauled them away. Looked at everybody else. Hey, do you have a warrant? Because if you do, we're going to arrest you for it. Keep in mind, ICE, as of now, is only allowed to detain based on a federal warrant. They can't pick you up for a warrant for failure to comply. That's illegal. But Immigration's Customs Enforcement hasn't given a crap about legal and illegal. Mayor, I'm urging you, I'm begging you, stand for the people. Make your constituents feel like they're cared about. So now, they've escalated. They sprayed Chicago Police Department officers with pepper spray. They sprayed cops with pepper spray. Say it one more time, just so we're clear. They sprayed cops with pepper spray. They shot a reporter in the head with a rubber bullet in Chicago. They are swamping Chicago's 911 system with phony 911 calls, making it near impossible for them to deal with the rest of the city. State police is protecting ICE. They're pushing protesters away from the ICE facility's gates in Broadview. Not illegal for them to be outside of their gates, by the way. It's inconvenient, but it's not illegal. They have arrested black folks without warrants, put them in flex cuffs, put them in ICE facilities. They're conducting these raids, no-knock raids, in the middle of the night. The one in Chicago I was talking about kicked off at midnight. Bearcats, for those of you unaware, a Bearcat is a tactical vehicle that is up-armored, has a turret. It is just shy of something that we would have used in combat. They're using that. They used a Black Hawk helicopter to put people down on the ground, rappelling. They're treating this like they're in Iraq. They're treating this like it's a war zone. Mayor, your people are on the front lines. You should be very much more pissed off than you are, ma'am. But, you know, Texas National Guard is now on the ground in Chicago. As of today, they put boots on the ground. Their plane landed, and they're at the Army Reserve Center in Chicago. Depending on how the lawsuit goes with the federal government, they may be out working as early as tomorrow morning after they get their roles of engagement and they get their marching orders. Luckily for us, they do not have ammo with their firearms yet, but they will hit an ammo point before they go out. If they do it anything like the border, they won't have the ammo in their weapon. But I don't know that they're going to do it like they did on the border. We don't know anything. We are mushrooms right now. We are kept in the dark and fed crap. ICE is lying through their freaking teeth about things. Openly lying. Are you going to do anything to protect your people, Mayor?
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
Are you going to do anything to protect
Clerk.
your people, Mayor?
Mayor
Make the
Bill
announcement.
Cruz Hine.
Charlie Kirk was a piece of shit.
What?
Point of
That's out of order, Mayor. That's.
Sir, you're only supposed to address the chairwoman. Go ahead and announce the next speaker.
Brianna Day.
Okay, this is going to be a lot of nonsense because I'm really tired, guys. Being unhoused is exhausting. Okay, so I want to touch on that because of the fact that I was in a trap. I found a place to stay, but I had to work for my place to stay, and they didn't follow labor laws, that's for sure, which just made it even more exhausting. Oh my gosh. And then on top of that, it's a matter of if you don't do what they say, then you don't have a room to stay in. If you don't have a room to stay in, you're out on the street with a kid. So do you see how people get put into bad situations and they're forced to do things that they don't want to do in order to get their basic needs met? Because it's happening here. And and my case was very, very light. It was a very good case, let me tell you. There are women who are doing way worse things for their basic needs. With that being said, in order to get out of this trap, what do you do afterwards? You leave, you don't have a place to stay, you don't have a job anymore, and now you're back at square one. What did I just do? I just wasted a whole bunch of time for nothing. Everybody looks at me and they're like, oh, well, you're going up, you got a place to stay now, like, you got your kid back, things are getting better. Yeah, but I just wasted all that time for what? And all those people that are staying there, they're wasting their time for what? They're gonna go back down to square one. And our programs are putting them there. I think that's the thing that we should really talk about. We're paying them to keep our homeless. So whenever you've got somebody coming up here like Robert, who, yes, he doesn't look put together. He doesn't sound put together. The things that he says are not, they're not gonna be polite because he's from the street. It's a different life. But what he's saying is true. What he's saying is actually happening. Our city dollars are going to people who are taking advantage of of our unhoused, of our homeless people. And there's no oversight. We're just giving them the money and we're just like, yeah, cool, that's fine. Do what you gotta do. So if we could get some oversight on that, get some enforcement, that would be really awesome, because we're just gonna keep people homeless and keep dishing out money if we don't do something about it. And then once people actually get out of that situation, I'm crashed, man. I'm finally in a spot where I feel safe. I haven't been safe in I don't know how long. And I am so exhausted. I literally slept 12 hours, got up, fed my son, went back to sleep. And then I slept before I came here, which is why I'm like not put together right now. My brain is not functioning because I finally hit a point where I am safe and my body is like, just let it go. And now I got to find a job while I'm in this position of my muscles hurt, my joints hurt. My body's gone downhill because I've been out on the street for I don't know how long. But I have to get a job and I need to move along because, you know, I've got bootstraps that I need to pull up. So I'll stop complaining now. Really the biggest thing is we need enforcement. We need to stop dishing out money to people who are taking advantage of our homeless people, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Clerk?
Ken Pasha.
I wanted to ask, Mirabelle was just a second behind. We're moving really fast
I'm gonna
tonight.
come back to her.
Thank you, Chuck. I just wanted to make sure. You can start me. So everybody knows I got a few degrees in communication, so I'm skilled enough to talk about it. I think one of the interesting things when it comes to communication is that we have the right to say almost anything we want out here. When you guys are up here, when I'm up here, when the mayor's in her official appearances and so forth, we all have to kind of toe the line and follow the rules, right? Same with work. I go to work, I have to follow the rules. I can't just say whatever I want. The way that I act here, I wouldn't talk to my boss like that, right? That's my boss. That's who signs my checks. We're also a lot more professional with each other than I've experienced here sometimes. More so, those rules need to be followed at all times. Because when somebody breaks them and steps far out of line and does something that we all know is wrong from the start without being told, because we're all capable adults who know how words work, it seems confusing to me that this administration in this city has now dismissed one employee, and I know for a fact that there's something going on with another employee regarding their comments about Charlie Kirk on Facebook. So that's really none of your business. It really isn't. I asked my job what they thought of my Facebook, and they asked me if I ever put my employer's name on there. No, I'm not dumb. So they don't care, because this is America, as far as I know, at least in some areas still, right? Now, the confusing part for me, though, is of saying something about a guy who lived his life as a racist, a bigot, a hate monger. You can shake your head all you want, Ward 1. Everybody with a brain knows what I'm saying is true. So let's be clear with each other. You guys know that the N-word is wrong, right? You wouldn't say it in private. You wouldn't say it to your friends. You wouldn't say it to a random stranger. So if you work for the city, why would you say it? Why would you say it at work? Seems confusing to me. It's 2025. Does anyone not know the N-word's bad? Is that confusing? Do we need to have a sit down, maybe some more training? It's ridiculous. These are adults. You're at work. And the idea that somebody is getting dismissed, fired, or being asked to retire or facing long-term suspension over some random Facebook comments that are their absolute right to make, and a guy who used the N-word got somewhere between 5 and 30 days. 5 and 30 days for using a racist slur at work. Does that sound right to you? Where's our head shakes on that one, Ward 1? Thanks. I just wanted to check, though, because it seems confusing to me, because this city put real effort into getting rid of a director who'd been here for how long? You know, you guys were friends. So let's be clear. It seems even weirder that one of my friends is now facing possibly losing their job over comments about Charlie Kirk. But those are legal comments. Did I miss something in the city code? Is there something that says no mean words about podcasters who don't work here? On the other hand, I'm 100% sure that there is something in the city policy about racial slurs. So 5 to 30 days is not only unacceptable, it seems almost weird that Charlie Kirk earns you no job and using racial slurs just gets you a slap on the hand, because that's what 30 days is, or anywhere between 5 and 30, right? I mean, if you guys seriously want to tell me that those two things are not equivalent, anyone who thinks they are should meet me outside and we can chat about it. And I don't mean that forcefully, I mean that genuinely, because you seem confused about how language works. Racist slurs have been wrong for as long as I've been alive and long before that. But unfortunately, it doesn't work that way for a lot of people, it seems. They still feel entitled to that. I want to call attention to the fact that they just reopened a museum here in town. And I'm going to make sure I get the name right because they deserve that, because everyone should go there and go see it and maybe learn some lessons. Because the new exhibit at the Springfield and Central Illinois African American History Museum explores the race riots here. That is our history here. You don't get to live in Springfield and tell me you don't know racism is wrong. We've killed people over it here. The NAACP was birthed here because of it. And to let somebody work here after using racial slurs and fire people for saying something you don't like about a guy who deserved a lot of harsh words. A lot. Not what he got, but he deserved a lot of harsh words, just like anyone out there does when you make yourself a public figure. You don't think I take hits out there? You think everybody's nice to me? That's just what it is, though. That's the position you chose to be in. But I'll tell you what I'll never, ever, 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 ever do is use a racial slur, because that is wrong on every level. There's no justification, especially when you're a city employee who's been here 20 plus years. You know the rules, follow them. But seemingly you don't have to. Seemingly you can get away with it as long as you do, just some racial slurs. Don't say anything bad about Charlie Kirk.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Maribel Cruz.
I got a question.
Hi. Oh, sorry.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you. Corporation Counsel, is there something in our policy about that, though?
About,
Using racial slurs
we
like
have
that
an
in work?
anti-discrimination, it's not a policy, it's our code of ordinances and our personnel code. We have anti-harassment, anti-discrimination language. We also cover that as a topic of discipline in our 24 collective bargaining agreements.
So thank you for clarifying that. And is there an investigation going on for this situation, or has it been taken care of?
I'm not going to discuss anything publicly. I'm happy to talk with you in a setting where we can preserve the attorney-client privilege.
Thank you for that, too, because we continue, me, Alderman Williams, and Alderman Gregory continue to get text messages about this situation that took place, and I'm Black, so hearing that word was used, it's really not sitting well with me. The climate that we're in nationwide, I agree with the mayor, how she has said this has no place here in our city. That word has no place here in our city to be used under no circumstances. And so I think I think all three of us, we would like to meet with you so that we can understand where things are, because we're not able to really answer the community when they say something to us. And I don't want to get anybody in trouble or any retaliation, but there's employees that reach out to us, and we know that there was a meeting that was had and talked about like, hey, you shouldn't be using this word, but that's not enough. Because if we did it, if we turn around and use that word, it would really be an issue too. So I want to just make sure that we fully understand too, when the community is reaching out to us, what can we say to them? Like, what are we allowed to say to them? And it's not me asking for permission, so I want to be very clear before people start saying, why are you asking for permission? I understand that we have rules and policies in place, but I think it's important for us to know that, and we have to stand for something. Using that word is not acceptable. And it's not acceptable for us to call the other side anything neither, but we have to make sure that we're standing up for ourselves and for our community too. And these employees are not feeling that comfortable. I think that what is being done is fine, but also when that person is coming back to work, them having to be in a comfortable environment to think that, hey, I'm safe at work. I'm not going to be called that name anymore. So I just want to request that we have a meeting too soon.
Absolutely, we can meet.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Both situations, this Charlie Kirk, this local employee situation, and the heat that comes to me as Ward 3 Alderman, black man, and my community hears this, and they go through all these comparisons about, why you do it this way, but then this way, and this guy can get fired, and they take you through that. I'm a grown man, and I've ran for office knowing that the mayor wears two hats. She wears the hat of administration. She has administration where she's over several directors with several employees, and she also wears a piece of the legislative hat. I know that me as an alderman, I am involved with legislation, and I try to talk to my people and tell them this. I don't have employees that work for me. Yeah, I'm a part of the city, and yeah, I do ordinances and I do policy and different rules and regulations that may impact your life, but I can't argue when a personnel director or the corporate counsel says, well, Alderman, I'm not going to talk about personal issues with you. You're not in that role. You don't know union contracts. You don't know if it's progressive. I don't know enough. And I'm saying this on the mic and in public because I want people to kind of understand the position it puts me in. Personally, I have an opinion about it. Personally, I think it's a weak punishment. But I've been on both sides of the union too. I've been in the supervisor role as well as the employee role. So I see both sides of what possibly could be going on here. But what I would say is if I'm not in charge and have both hats, only can impact where I can impact. But that doesn't mean personally I agree with what this city does and how they behave. And yes, I am a part of the shoe. I'm a part of it, but I'm only one vote out of 10. If I could change things, I would. I can't, so I just do the best I can, and I try to make people understand, this is the way it is, this is the way we operate. And in this particular case, what a lot of these folks are mad about with the language isn't any one alderman's fault, isn't any the Black Caucus fault. It is what it is. I think all across this country, elected officials have to deal with this, but we have to know our role and where we can. If they call the vote, I vote against what happened. I'd be a little more firmer on the employee, but that's not our role here. I have my opinion of Charlie Kirk, and I know people's hot, and it's going to always be that way, but I also know we all have our First Amendment rights, and all we can do is not let no one take yours away. So I'm not trying to take anybody else's away, and I'm also never going to vote or try to punish or be punitive when somebody else expresses theirs, whether I'm agreeing with them or disagreeing with them. So I just think sometimes we need to slow down and think about these things, but we all have our own opinions. And I said this last week, and we all have our own rights. And the worst thing we can do is stop communicating and deteriorate. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Gregory?
I'm going to pass. I spoke last week on this, I agree, and we've been here before with what we've had to deal with some racial tensions in the city. We've seen people use nasty words not only against black people but against gay people and on, and that gentleman had to, well, not gentleman, that man had to be fired, and so. Going forward, I think it's important for this council, as we said, to make sure and realize that this stuff is real. I just read before and watched a video before I got here of a young man, on his way to the NFL, kill himself off of a lie, off of a setup, ruin his whole career, just because he was a black man driving a nice car, man. So these things are real. Racism is real in our city. I mean, you can just look at the comments anytime something about people of color comes across, that it is in our community. And, in 2020, we passed the anti-racism and Some other things, ordinance, resolution with Black Lives Matter, and that was a different council. And I think this council, we have to look at bringing that back and making sure that we know that in our city and people who work for us, that this council is not going to stand for that. The mayor is not going to stand for that. And we were going to push forward. Do your jobs, go home. If we don't like each other or don't like people just because of the color. And, you know, as black people, you know, we take stuff like this serious because we know the real. We know it's real. Like, you know, when we attack issues up here, best believe it's people that hurl these same words at us. I'm still looking for the guy who called himself looking for me in the grocery store. I'm looking for him to this day. But we get those type of messages and threats and odd looks every day just because of who we are and what we stand for. So these things are real, and I hope that we don't have to revisit it, but I know we will. So thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Purchase?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I think, too, I would ask that as a council, that we come together and we stand together to let people in this community know that that's not what we are tolerating.
I agree with you.
I don't want to be emotional up here, but I'm really angry at this point. What we seeing going on in our country, what I see going on back at home, and then to see that we have somebody within our departments using that word. It's bullshit. And we need to stand together. We need to stand together and let people know that this will not be tolerated, and it's not okay. I know all of us care about our ward. I know that we don't want to see this, so I'm asking for all of us to come together. If we can't control what's going on in Chicago, and we all know I work in Chicago, so I'm seeing everything that's going on right now. I'm from Maywood. Broadview is 10 minutes away, and I'm seeing everything that's going on. I hope and pray that our officers are not pepper sprayed or something like that doesn't happen down here, but we do need to do something. And I'm asking that we all come together.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Clerk?
Maribel Cruz Hine. I'm sorry?
Oh, Alderwoman
I just wanted to say real quickly.
I didn't see your thing, I'm sorry.
I apologize, Maribel, give me just 2 seconds, I promise.
Sorry, Maribel.
Alderwoman Purchase, thank you for saying that. I don't want this to be just 3 members of this council that have to speak in disgust on that. I wasn't here last week, and I couldn't say anything then, but that's not acceptable behavior in anywhere. On our streets, from our employees, in our hearts and our minds, it's never acceptable. And I want you to know, I mean, I will, whatever you want to do, if there's something we want to get put together to make this firmer and united, absolutely, I'm here with you. Because you're right, that's never allowed, it's never acceptable, and it's never appropriate. We can't control a lot of stuff, but we can absolutely speak to that. So,
Alderwoman Notriano. Thank you, Alderwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to add to what Alderwoman Conley said. It sounds like we don't have a zero tolerance policy for racism, but we certainly should. So I'm happy to work with the other members of the council to figure out a way to put that in practice. I know with union agreements, it's tough, but otherwise, yeah, we should definitely have zero tolerance. So, thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Okay, Maribel. We can have somebody help you pass those around.
Sarah? Is here, but because
Okay.
everything,
Thank you.
yeah,
Did you hear that, Clerk? Before we, oh, go ahead.
okay. Well, man, I would like to start with a moment of silence for the 2,700 families that have been completely erased from the civil registry in Palestine. Okay, well, as you know, the to Promote Indigenous Peoples Day submitted the application for a proclamation on the Springfield City website to proclaim every second Monday of October to be Indigenous Peoples Day. What is it to be indigenous? Of relating to or descendant from the earliest known inhabitants of a place, and especially the place that was colonized. Indigenous peoples' cultures. The term indigenous derives from the Latin word indigena, meaning sprung from the land or native. It was first used in English in the early 17th century to refer to individuals or groups who originated from a particular region or territory. I've said this before. This is from Wikipedia. Not every indigenous people look like me. This is the indigenous peoples of Africa. The history of indigenous African peoples spans thousands of years, includes a complex variety of cultures, languages, and political systems. Indigenous African cultures have existed since the ancient times, with some of the earliest evidence of human life in the continent coming from the stone walls, rock art, dating back hundreds of thousands of years. The earliest written records of African history came from the ancient Egyptian and Nubian texts, which date back around 3000 BC. These texts provide insight into the societies of the time, including religious beliefs, political systems, and trade networks. In the centuries that followed, various other African civilizations rose to prominence, such as the Kingdom of Kush, Northern Sudan, and the powerful empires of Ghana, Mali, and Sohai in West Africa. In the late 15th century, European colonization began, leading to the enslavement of millions of Africans and the displacement of many indigenous cultures. Since the end of World War II, indigenous African cultures have been in the state of constant flux, struggling to maintain their identity in the face of westernization and globalization. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in traditional cultures, and many African countries have taken steps to preserve and promote their indigenous heritage. Indigenous people of Italy. It's vital to recognize the presence of indigenous communities who have shaped the country's cultural tapestry for centuries. These groups have left an indelible mark of Italy's language, traditions, and way of life, like the Etruscans, which I recently learned. One of the most notable groups to emerge in the pre-Roman Italy was the Etruscans. This civilization would flourish between the 8th century and 3rd century BC. Left an enduring legacy of Italian art, culture, and religion. The Etruscans developed a distinctive alphabet, practiced advanced metalworking, pottery techniques, and built sophisticated cities like Tarquinia, Cerveteri, often referring as tomb cities due to their elaborate underground tombs. We see the influence of the Etruscans in the adoption of Roman culture and language, and even the establishment of Roman Republic. Moving forward, for you to be born today, I said this before, it's 12 previous generations back. You need a sum total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. So I want you to think about you. For you to be born, think for a moment how many struggles, how many battles, how many difficulties, how much sadness, how much happiness, how many love stories, how much expression of hope for the future did your ancestors have to endure for you to exist at this very moment? What is your legacy? A lifetime reputation could be determined within an hour. Indigenous Peoples Day is not just for me, but it's for you too. It is an invitation to get to know your ancestors, your history, to learn from one another, to heal, thrive in ways that never thought of before. It represents all of us, our forgotten history, our culture. Proclaim Indigenous Peoples Day, not just for me, but for you. I wish you all so much love, freedom and liberation, free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan. Free your minds.
Thank you, ma'am. Clerk.
Michelle Cruz-Hein. Michelle Cruz-Hein. Sarah Al.
Hi. This is actually my first time speaking with you guys. I had the pleasure of meeting Misty Busher at the 1908 Three Hot Days in Summer event. I was thrilled to hear that the city wanted to right injustices in history by honoring its Black community and telling their history. I was overjoyed when I received the response that educating Springfield residents about this in schools was being addressed as well. I'm slightly confused how these state sentiments don't extend to Indigenous populations and the Indigenous history in Springfield, Illinois. City Council has voted against Indigenous Peoples Day twice. Just last week, Alderman Brad Carlson, I believe it was, attempted to suppress an Indigenous speaker who was invited to speak at City Council by Alderman Jennifer Notradano. Thank you so much for respecting his time, even though yours was definitely not respected. If y'all would like to take a recess to discuss where you all sit on BIPOC matters, feel more than welcome. Alderman Brad Carlson definitely showed his enthusiasm about that last week. Speaking of City Council being on one page, having an entire argument and disagreement, sorry, I get nervous. Anyway, having an entire argument and disregarding a woman when she's speaking to you is embarrassing. You showed that you don't value your own systems, you don't value your own time, and you have no faith in your fellow alderpersons. You're unable to discuss these matters in private. Instead, you'll make it very public, very embarrassing display. It's especially embarrassing when we have new residents and that was their first introduction to City Council. I recommend that you follow your own internal procedures and vote on rules pertaining to presentations rather than arguing in front of all of Springfield residents. While we're on the topic of how the City Council conducts itself, I'd like to touch on the fact that the city claims to want to hear from residents while actively suppressing people's ability to comment on posts, ignoring invitations, and conveniently scheduling conflicting events. Worse, making those events specific to certain wards without any broadcasting. I'd like to note that had you been at the police brutality meeting, you'd have known that bringing the whole community together and broadcasting events was very vital to maintaining open communication and dialogue. Sorry, I have about 2 minutes. While keeping on the topic of open dialogue, let's talk about police in the city. The police personnel that want real dialogue have showed up. That was at last Thursday for the police brutality. Thank you to all of the officers who showed up in good faith and had conversations with us. The ones who claim that droplets of water are weapons and claim that Tiara Standard should not be a board member representing the residents of the city did not show up. This comes from the same department that found her perfectly capable of working for them and were happy to use her free labor had she granted it. Asking someone to take on work without compensation is free labor. Educating others without compensation is free labor. Many are more than willing to do it as long as it is on their terms and they have real backing to ensure things are successful. The charade that happened 3 weeks ago was shameful and showed the true feelings of many SPD officers while they claim to want to bridge the gap with residents. One last request when it comes to police officers, please train them to stop lying. I had one officer tell me that driving without it's DMV and your officers. I had a public official tell me that driving without a permit at 21 was not an issue. I got stopped and the officer who stopped me kept telling me that it was a horrible way to start a driving record. He scared me so bad I had an asthma attack and started crying. Only then did he explain that all I had to do was go get a permit and go to the city. I had another officer who stopped me tell me that on a voice message, because he couldn't get a hold of me, that he was going to mark it as a hit and run. When I got there crying, he asked me if I was okay and what was wrong. I told him that I was scared that he was going to mark the accident as a hit and run. He then told me that he wouldn't have done that because we already shared sorry, I'm running out of time. I'd already shared my insurance, and I already shared my phone number with the person. So I'll probably be at another meeting, but please, you have some good officers, but for the rest of them, don't make them do this to citizens. How are we supposed to understand back and
Thank you, ma'am.
just believe in them when they're gonna lie to us so blatantly?
Thank you. Clerk.
Tiara Standage.
I'm not really too nervous.
Hello. As we know, I said some bad words at a protest about police officers last year, and man, there's been a lot of consequences because of that. I've had to sit here at city council and watch a Netflix documentary about myself. I've been excluded from groups like the ACLU and, well, not excluded from the groups, but excluded from meetings with the SPD chief because of those bad words that I said about the police. So I think it's disgusting that one of your employees, Mayor, can call a black employee the N-word with a hard R, and I hear 5 to 30 days. That's crazy. I've been dealing with this for over a year, and I meant what I said at that protest. So I don't know. Maybe I need to organize the people of this city again to make some noise so that we can call for that person's job, because I will find out who it is. You know, it's not being made public information, but that person shouldn't have a job. You know, you yourself said that there's no place for that in this city, and I agree. So I think that person needs to be fired. I'm publicly calling for their job. For all the black people in this community. That's not freedom of speech, that's hate speech. Okay, now to what I wrote down. Also, there was no public post on the city's page about anybody calling anybody N-word, but I seen public posts about people losing their job over Charlie Kirk, so I just wondered what the difference was. Why isn't it being made public that this is what the black people in this city have to deal with when they want to work for this city? I just need this council to know, especially right now more than ever, that white silence is violence. So thanks for the ones that did speak up against this. The people of Springfield deserve leadership that listens, not leadership that labels. Recently, this chamber became a stage for division where a public servant used their position to brand me as anti-police. But what you're hearing from me is not hatred, it's heartbreak. It's not anti-police, it's pro-accountability. Because when citizens speak about safety, equity, or harm, they are not attacking law enforcement. They are pleading for protection that includes everyone. And when that truth is dismissed or disrespected, it shows us that this city's problem isn't anti-police voices, it's anti-accountability leadership. Too often, Springfield has chosen comfort over courage. We see it when black and brown residents are over-policed and underheard. We see it when those demanding change are painted as the problem instead of being recognized as the ones trying to solve the problem. And we see it in a culture that too often feels anti-black, anti-brown, and anti-inclusive. But Springfield has the power to choose a new story, one rooted in truth, inclusion, and courage. That starts with acknowledging our full history, especially as we approach Indigenous Peoples Day. This day is not symbolic, it is sacred. It is a recognition of the first people in this land whose wisdom, resilience, and suffering laid the foundation for our city. To continue ignoring or minimizing Indigenous Peoples Day is to choose ignorance over integrity. You cannot claim inclusion while erasing the very people who first called this land their home. If Springfield wants to call itself a moral or pure city, it must begin by cleansing the impurity within its institutions, the bias, the fear, the exclusion. Purity is not about image, it's about integrity. And integrity means doing what's right, especially when it's not convenient or not popular. So tonight we ask you, stop using power to silence those who seek justice. Start using it to build trust. Recognize Indigenous Peoples Day not as a token gesture, but as a true step towards reconciliation, healing, and equity. The application is already in. We just need this council to approve it and proclaim it. Springfield's strength has never come from authority. It always has come from the people, from those who love this city enough to demand that it finally loves all of us back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roy Walton.
Give me 1 second, everybody. Hold on, speak. Okay, I'm ready.
Sure.
This is the city's policy on violence in the workplace. It is the policy of the city of Springfield to provide a safe working environment for employees to minimize their likelihood of violence in the workplace. Through early intervention acts or threats of violence, explicit or implied, will not be tolerated. Employees found in violation of this policy will be subject to disciplinary actions up to and including discharge, and the appropriate law enforcement authorities will be notified if necessary. Specifically, the city prohibits conduct and behavior which intimidates, harasses, interferes, or threatens a fellow employee or their safety. First of all, this policy applies because the Springfield Police Department, the community, is their workplace. We are their employers. This can be implemented. And Mayor, I don't know if you get it or not, but you're just as culpable as the department. Because when your chief of police used 50 officers that didn't show up to the town hall in the same support to intimidate an individual that would not stand down from him, you told him, I got your back. Which means you're telling him any threat that he makes and then takes action on, because he threatened not to meet her at that town hall meeting and he didn't come, which means he acted on his threats and you're aware of it. And any person that fails to perform their duties are liable to the same actions. You and your department are criminal right now, Mayor. So let me just say, like they say to us when they feel like we're criminals, you have to stay lucky. We only got to get lucky one time. It's time for you to get yourself together, Mayor, and figure out what you're going to do with your department. Because right now, the message that you're sending to the community is, oh yeah, beat the blacks, kidnap the immigrants, and rape the minorities of all their freedoms, family, and comfortabilities. See, we tired for real. And we tired of you looking at us with that blank face and saying nothing. It's time to get it together. Because everybody ain't scared. So the intimidation tactics and all of the other things that your chief got going on and participating in that you're not properly dealing with, once again, a couple weeks ago, I called for a formal meeting with the organizations, the mayor, the corporate council, the city clerk, and any aldermen that want to attend. We do expect to hear something because we're not going to stop coming. And to all the aldermen that did show their support, and to everyone on the board that is making an effort to see that it is something wrong and do something about it, I commend y'all. Thank y'all for listening.
Matt Shear. Matt Shear. Veronica Glass. Veronica Glass. James Johnson. James Johnson. The James Johnson.
Day 7 of government shutdown. There's people struggling. There's people mad. There's people hurting. There's people angry. Now, Mayor, I'm the one that's been around here for 15 plus years. And your administration, your police chief, and your fire chief are the only ones out of the last 15 years that haven't came to me and said, hey, James, here's my personal cell number. Give me a call if you need anything. The only group out of all these years. And then I heard somebody say, they begging you to speak up about what's going on in our state. I'm not up here to beg. I ain't begging for nothing. But I am going to talk about this N-word being used at city department. And so y'all know, I know who it is. It ain't no secret. So Alderman, I want you to ask the question to legal, because that man over there, his brother had a news pit on his desk back in the day. And I want to know, what's the rules now? What's the law? Because nobody asked that last week, and I sat still, and I ain't sitting still listening and waiting no more. So I ran up here to drop this bomb today. We're not going to keep pitting up with people talking to our people that way. We're not. You think them the only angry people, Mayor? You're wrong. Mr. Pacia said it greatly last week, because he ain't the only one. Now, I've been the peaceful one for the last 15 to 20 years trying to bring the community together. But since your people don't want to communicate with me, guess what? Figure out what that means. But I will say thank you to the police, because see, this side, Ward 2, we just had another homicide. And then last week there was gunshots. But where was Faith Coalition? Did they pop out there and let me mention something. This ain't the first time the police department refused to meet with some people in our community. Ask Sheila about it. She'll tell you who they were. So this ain't nothing new to me. That's why I ain't getting excited about it. But here's the rule. What we're not going to put up, Mayor, and I'm going to lay the law down, because if we're going to do a peaceful protest, we're going to do a peaceful protest outside. But if we go inside, it ain't none peaceful about it, and I'm putting it out there. If I have to come through them doors, I'm going to tell you right now, I come from that generation. If we come through them doors, we're going to tear up some stuff. Don't make us have to do that in your community. Because when we ain't heard up here, we'll make you hear us out there. Now, you can have your meetings, and you can call whoever and all them little groups you want to meet with to determine what's going to happen. In this community, you ain't calling the right people, because they ain't going to make the decision what happens here. I suggest you bend some of the gap with the community that's hurting the most, because they can do the most damage. And these young people, when they go, they going to go. They're going to go up. Now, what we're not going to put up with is police officers, because you're going to get my attention then, putting their knees on anybody's back or neck. And we're not going to be grabbing on any women in our community. If your officers don't have enough training for that, they do not need to be on our police force. But grabbing women, and this is law, and I'm going to stand on business. If it comes to me that your officers are snatching women of any color by their hair, I'm going to move silently. So I just want you to know that. Now, if you think something go on in this community I don't know, you're wrong. And I hope you decide that whoever this dude is, and I ain't going to blow his name up right now, but he needs to go. And if you're the mayor of the capital, you need to stand up and say
Thank you,
to
sir.
the governor,
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you,
stand
Mayor.
up and say
James.
something.
Alderwoman
James.
Purchase signed up to speak,
James.
ma'am, sir.
Stand up and
James, you asked a question
James.
and you had came in just a little late.
I know
When-
I did,
Okay.
but I seen everything.
Okay, so did you hear I asked, Corporation Counsel, did we have a policy in place? Did you? hear?
No, I missed that part.
Corporation Counsel, can you say it one more time? Because I feel like it needs to come from you and not us interpreting what you
So
say.
we have an anti-discrimination, anti-harassment policy or ordinance in our city code. In addition, we address that in our various union contracts.
Mayor, could we put something out through the communications director just to let people know, since this is a hot topic, just out for the public to know what that is and the verbiage of it?
We can also.
How come we can't get the verbiage now?
I think the rules are.
Well, wait, everybody.
Alderwoman
Wait.
Purchase has the floor.
I'm asking so that it can be visibly seen and people can constantly see it too if they have questions. Not everybody is watching tonight, or not everybody has access to see this. So I'm asking that we put it out through the mayor's communications director so everyone can understand what the policy is.
Yeah, and we'll reference the code so they can see it in the code, so it's not, I don't think it's made up.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then James, thank you for your support, but don't come through these doors trying to do anything. We need to keep our community together.
No,
We can do a
I ain't
peaceful.
coming through these.
Well, I heard what you just said, and you know that can be taken as a threat. So I'm asking you, all three of us is asking you, and we be upset with you sometimes. When you came up here blaming us,
Everybody do.
we understand, but we're asking that you do not come through these doors trying to do anything.
I think I said peaceful protest.
You did, but you said if I gotta come through these doors, it's gonna be
On a
different.
peaceful protest.
Okay, well, thank you for
We
clarifying.
don't protest, we speak our minds up here.
Okay.
So only thing I'm gonna say now is, you're the mayor of the city, of the capital for the state of Illinois. They need to hear from you, because if you don't
Sir, your
speak
time is up.
against what's being said, you're a part of it.
Thank you, sir. Matt Scherer walked in.
Matt Shear. Matt Shear.
Hi, how's everyone doing? It's a little tense in here, huh? So, if it did not get disseminated to you from Tim Griffin, one of the things that I would like to talk about tonight, just the only one pretty much, is email addresses. If I can see a show of hands of all of you, does anyone use a springfield.il.us email address to conduct city business?
Sir, you need to point your questions to the chairwoman, please. Thank you, sir.
Is it Lakeisha?
You need to talk to the chairwoman, please. No, I'm the chairwoman. I'm sitting at the mayor's chair.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Other than yourself and myself as a city employee, and Council Mordock, and Clerk Redpath, am I allowed to ask? Can I see a show of hands?
Make a blanket statement, but the code says that you address the chairperson, whomever that is at that meeting.
Indeed, which is you, correct?
Correct, sir.
Correct. So, other than those addressed currently of the council, am I allowed to ask who
You
uses?
can ask, but they don't have to. It's just to me. It's a back and forth with us here, so.
Sure, okay. So, what I would like to ask you, Madam Mayor, is
Yes, sir.
city emails, springfield.il.us email addresses are provided to all the alderpersons if requested? Is that correct?
Continue, sir.
This
This is your 5 minutes to address the chairperson, so you have 3 minutes left, so keep your comments coming.
Am I allowed to ask you a question? Will you respond if I ask you a question? No? Okay, fair enough. Okay, well then we'll have unanswered questions. That's fine. It is my understanding that springfielddial.us email addresses are provided to all the alderpersons, but are not required. I would like to publicly bring up this question because it relates to FOIA information. I'm not sure if anyone has ever tried to FOIA Google, Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, whatever you want to call it, any email provider that is private. If you are not a government entity, you are not allowed, in my experience, to obtain these documents. It has to come from someone like you, Madam Mayor, a government entity. With the council conducting potentially city business on private email servers that are, it seems, unfoyable, I find this to be a very intriguing aspect of open government, which you have done a very good job of creating a better environment for. I will say, under previous administrations, my experience, you have done an excellent job of creating a better environment for that. But I would like to see maybe a little bit more change. So, again, I can't ask questions, but I would say, hey guys, why don't we use springfielddial.us email addresses? I mean, me as a Springfield firefighter, you can FOIA anything that I do on my city email in my official capacity as a firefighter, but I can't see anything that any of you do on your private email while you conduct city business. Every time I log into my city email, it says you can be up to and including fired for misusing this, right? Shouldn't all of the council be held to the same standard? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Motion?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.